right, welcome to Sports. Yes, talking sport is our business, and on Talk Sport this morning we'll be looking at the African Cup of Nations and also FA Cup matches that were played in England. A lot of interesting matches to say, and I'm so excited because I've got a CAF licensed coach by my side, so it means everything I'm going to be doing is going to be spot on in terms of my formation, my selection of players, and also he'll be giving us a very interesting take on Nigeria's sports minister who is doing good and not too good. And he had a very, very brief debate with Clinton before we came on set, and it was very interesting to see Clinton trying to defend the sports minister based on sentiment, while our coach was trying to do it based on what he has seen on ground. So it's going to be exciting talking sport this morning on Global Television. And my guest is no other person but CAF license. CAF means Confederation of African Football license. So it means he has the license to coach any national team. Chris, nice to have you in the studios.
It's good to be back.
All right, let's begin from where it's very interesting. Before we came on set, you and Clinton, my co-sports anchor, were on a match as regards one for the minister, the other against the minister. Clinton obviously was based on the fact that the sports minister was from his state. How well has that minister done in terms of sports?
Well, you should understand there will always be sentiment when you are talking about your kinsman. Actually, the minister did very well, fantastically well when he took over. He did well, but all of a sudden it seems...
started playing to the gallery.
I don't know how to describe it. I was just discussing with Clinton. I said his predecessor, Sunday Dare, before he left office, he touched other sports.
Area sports, sure.
He actually tried, and the one that I really love most is his ability to generate money for athletes. This adopt an athlete, and he was able to generate money for athletes to train abroad. Also, another thing that he did was he was able to revive the abandoned stadium. This Abuja stadium was abandoned for a long time. But he came, even though the pitch is not that fantastic, at least he did something. Then Lagos Stadium, he started something on the Lagos Stadium before he left. Yes, before he left. So I was expecting the minister to take over from there. Let him continue from where Sunday took. So I think the minister has started, just like I said, started well, but he should continue from where this man stopped so that sport can take shape. I don't want to mention
but when we look at other sports ministers, we can say this is his plan. He's got plan A, B, and C agendas for the sporting industry. Have we really seen that with him? And in terms of the Nigerian Football Federation, we know ministers, when they come in, they tend to also put their searchlight on the NFF to keep the NFF on their toes. Would you say this minister has gotten some bit of any relations with the NFF? Because
of course, he has done. When it comes to football, the minister has done well. In fact, you can mistakenly call him a football minister, because he has done well when it comes to football. When you say well, what has he done?
Yes,
he has been showing concern. So many issues. You know, there was a match we played, and the Super Eagles did not do well. He quickly called the NFF to order and also asked how he can come in. There were issues, and he was able to help them out, to resolve one or two things. So in terms of football, he has always been there for them. The area we are not too comfortable with him is the other sports. For instance, the Karate Federation, they hosted the other African countries, and he was nowhere to be found. He was in Calabar hosting his personal tournament,
which is very wrong.
They call it John Owa.
No, we won't be giving him publicity here.
No, it has been completed anyway. It's a good tournament.
But it was done
a grassroots tournament from the junior to the senior. But what we are saying is that you can't abandon
the African
a tournament that is hosted Africans in Nigeria. You don't do that. You don't do that at the detriment of
your personal.
No, you don't do that. So that is because one of the fans of karate was complaining that if we were to be football, the minister wouldn't have done that. but because it's karate,
Karate.
you have and the same thing with canoeing.
Canoeing, yes.
It was not there. These are, you have to encourage other sports,
And
whether we like it or not.
Canoeing did well for Nigeria during the Olympics.
Of course. We need to encourage other sports. We are not saying he's not doing well. He has been doing well for football, but let him do more for the other sport. Let him show concern. There's nothing wrong if we discover another sport.
All right, talking about doing well, Mr. President has done well for the Super Eagles and other national team when he paid as much as 12 billion naira.
I'm very sure he was the one that facilitated it.
Okay, let's look at, were you impressed with that move? And do you think that has let NFF off the hook? And this amount of monies, is that a good way? Yes, it felt good that President did it, but wouldn't that encourage subsequent NFF administrations to pile up the bill, hoping that one day Mr. President will come and sign it off?
Well, you must give kudos to this present NFF. It's just that they don't want to open the can of worm. They don't want to open a can of worm because if you look at where they took over from, the present NFF president, he took over so many debts in the federation, but he's not making that noise. He's just trying to see how he can tidy up all those. So many things went wrong with the past administration in the NFF. So you must give it to Guso. Is trying his best to see how he can tidy up all those things, especially those debts. It's not as if NFF they don't get money every now and then, but the problem is that they use it to service the debts they have on ground. So concerning the money that was released, I think it will serve as a motivation for the Super Eagles. Before now, when they are going to the AFCON, they are not sure of their allowances. Before you know what is happening, they are quarreling in the camp. They will threaten not to honor the match. Those are all those distractions. I want to believe that all those things will not come up this time around in AFCON.
All right, still talking about our darling Super Eagles, the first friendly match they played against the Abu Dhabi selected team, they walloped them 12-0. And I myself and other pundits were scared. I hope the Super Eagles had not finished scoring all their goals before AFCON even started. And true to the word, yesterday they faced the Guinean national team, Sili National, and they were beaten 2-0 by Guinea. And the question pops, are the Super Eagles really ready for the African Cup of Nations? If Guinea can beat them 2-0, what's going to happen when they face the mighty Indomitable Lions of Cameroon, if they face the Taranga Lions of Senegal, who are the defending champions, or the Atlas Lions of Morocco, who did Africa very well at the World Cup, or the Carthage Eagles of Tunisia?
I was thinking we are going to beat Sili National of Guinea, Sili, but it was the other way around. Yeah. Anyway, the thing is that friendly matches serve different purposes. Yeah, that is what we should understand. When you play a weaker team, it will boost the confidence of your team. Before the players will want to express themselves, they want to score goals, and that is when the coach, a sound coach, will know the strength of that team. But when you play a stronger team, whether we like it or not, Guinea is a strong team. True. Go and check the record in the past. When you play a stronger team, it exposes your weaknesses. So, thank God it's not the Nations Cup proper. For me, it has exposed so many things in the team. So it is now left for the coach to start working on those departments where they have issues, especially in the defense and the attack. They're supposed to score a goal. Even if you have goal, in my local palace, they say when you hit the pole, it's half goal. At least they're supposed to hit the pole at least. But for me, I'm not bothered about the friendly match because just like I said, it serves different purposes. Some to discover, or don't be surprised, maybe they use a weaker team. It's an avenue for you to also use other new players in the team. So you don't try that during a match proper. You do it in a friendly match. So maybe those are the things that contributed to. Okay,
let's look at the fact that the Super Eagles considered just 40 minutes into the game and could not equalize till the first half was over. And in the second 45 minutes, the Guineans even added one. Are you worried in terms of how quick the Eagles can concede? 40 minutes into the game is quite early for a very team that is determined to win the 4th African Cup of Nations to concede and not being able to equalize. Then on top of that, we've got Umar Sadiq, who was fouled. Nigeria was given a penalty, and shouldn't you be worried that we're not taking our chances? Penalties, you can equalize. That's worrisome.
That is why you play friendly matches, to note, to discover so many things. Okay, the person that took that penalty is an eye-opener that, oh, we need to work on
Penalty kicks.
Penalty kicks, to know who should be taking penalty for us.
Do you think it should be a team penalty taker or just anybody taking penalty?
No, it shouldn't be anybody. And also, the coach should be able to work on all the other players. The reason is because when you get to the knockout stage, you might start playing penalty. So normally, I used to advise my senior coaches then that anytime we finish playing, let's do penalty kick, and from there you discover other persons that can. Some goalkeepers are very good in taking penalty. So it's from training you notice, you discover all those things. Then concerning whether I'm worried, I'm not worried. I don't know where the confidence is coming from. It's like this, I'm seeing this Super Eagles team like the 2013.
Okay.
2013, nobody gave them
a chance.
They just went and womble until they got to the final and picked the trophy. But this one, they have more quality players in this team. It's just that where I have issue is the coach. It's like it's not up to the level of those players. But anything can happen.
Okay, talking about the team now, based on your confidence in the team, are there certain players you thought or you think should have been in that team? Because I was discussing with a sport analyst yesterday, we talked about Murphy. The fact that Murphy couldn't make that team. Are there other players you think should have been in that team that didn't make that team? And looking at the goalkeeping department, are you still confident that Francis Ozoho should remain as Nigeria's #1 goalkeeper in between the stakes?
I don't want to talk like a fan. If the fans will say, why can't you add this person? Why can't you include this person and drop this person? The only way I can talk like that is...
I need you to talk like as the coach.
Yes, until I see the team play. That is how I operate. Until I see the team. If I've seen the training section, and from there, they said, choose. And I think I will be able to say, why did they drop this? This thing happened to us in the past when I was still one of the assistant coaches. And I noticed some good players upcoming. And I recommended them. They said, no, they are not good enough. They don't have that heart to play. And in the long run, the ones we relied on, they were just losing matches. Guess the players that rescued us from relegation? Those ones I recommended. They were the one. I told the owner of the club then, he didn't listen to me. It was later I now discovered, he now remember what I told him. You know, you don't look down on any player. The person might be upcoming, but they have that heart. So for me, it will be difficult for me to say, why do they drop this person or why do they pick this person? I think it's better when I see them in training. For me, this young man, Uzo, has not been doing too well. And the reason is because there is no competition. He might be a good goalkeeper, but because you are always relying on him, he might not want to sit up. Some players are like that, or goalkeepers are like that. Look at Onana. At a point, he was just, even the same thing with Arsenal. Let me even use Arsenal.
Okay.
Arsenal, Ramsdale. He was always making mistakes. But when this guy came in, what's it called?
Raya, yes.
When he came in, anytime you give Ramsdale opportunity, he would do well. But before now, he used to make mistakes and
blunders.
Concede
cheap goals. Yeah.
So, but because there is a competition somewhere, he will not want to lose that shirt. That is why he will want to do well. So it's the same thing with Uzo. The coach is giving him too much confidence. He might be a good goalkeeper, or he's a good goalkeeper anyway. He's a good goalkeeper. It's just that there is no competition. Once in a while, the coach should be able to drop him and say somebody else should. That was how we discovered Dosu in the Atlanta 96. Yes. It was Emmanuel Babayaro that was the first choice. But in a friendly match, they substituted him and brought in Dosu. And before you know what was happening, Dosu has taken over. So I think the coach should not give any player, not even a player, he should not give anybody a permanent shirt. There should be competition. The competition should start from the bench. The bench should be as good as the first 11. So that if you are not doing well on the pitch, the person coming from the bench should be able to take over from you. And once you take over, you want to sit up when you have another opportunity for that. For such.
Okay, looking at the back line, I hope my producer can give us the picture, the lineup of the Super Eagles. But meanwhile, let's look at the back line. Zaidu has been given a chance to stake a claim. We've got Calvin Bassey also there, Chidozia Wazim, and Amera also defense line. For you, are you confident with the back line of the Super Eagles?
From it's only Omeruwe I've not been watching of late because of the place he's playing. Okay. But for Zaidu, for Bassey, and yes, I've been watching him in Fulham. It's because of him I watch him in Fulham. Wow. And the guy is he has improved tremendously compared to when he was in Ajax. He was always committing blunder. There was a time they were even accusing him that he was responsible for their problems. They can see now, Ajax is still down there. It is now clear that it's not Bassey that is a problem. But in Fulham, the coach cannot do without him. If he had his way, he will have kept him, or fringe injury for him not to come to the Nations Cup. So Kevin, I also remember when they play, the first match he played in Abuja here, he was so good. He was so good. He played left back. So for Zaidu, he has been playing. He has a permanent shirt in Porto. So Porto
is a big team.
Yes, and you know, football is like computer. The more you use it, the more you get better. So for him to be playing every now and then, I think he deserves to start. So for Omeruwe, I can't say much about him.
Okay, a lot of people have questioned why bring back Ahmed Musa to the team. How do you think Ahmed Musa is very relevant to the team? Okay, we're talking about defenders there. There's Onyemachi, Bruno, Samuel Bright, and William Ekong. For you, are you impressed with the lineup?
Yes, Ajayi, yes. He's a rugged man. Awaziem Collins, yes, he's also a good player. We've talked about Kevin, Omeruwe, Kevin. Which Kevin is that? Is he the same?
Yeah, I think that's he's in the team that was
Onyemachi, I don't know if he's the one. I don't know. I've not seen him play, but yes. Samuel Bright, very, very, very good player. He can use both legs. He's like Olaya, I know. He's very good at the right side.
So we can say Pizarro is doing something great with these players. Looking at the goalkeeping department, we talked about Ozoho. Ojo, what do you think about Ojo Olorike?
Ojo plays in the Nigerian league.
So is that not?
You can't judge him with that. Nigerian league, our league is not that fantastic. Strong. It's not that strong.
But we've always produced great goalkeepers.
Okay, look at, yes, we have done that in the past. Those ones took us to the continent and did well. But which of them have taken us to the continent?
What of Nwabili?
Nwabili, I don't have.
South African.
Well, I've not watched him play before. Yeah. You see, I've not watched him. This is where the coach should be using some of them. We have opportunity to play friendly matches. Use them. It's a friendly match. And so even if now we have lost, though they will count it as one of the matches he has played. But for me, I will want Nigeria to give him, let's give him that space. Let him express himself. Let him use all the players so that he can know his weak points and strength in that team. But if you start judging him by the friendly matches, he might be afraid and wants to continue to use a set of players. God forbid, if any of those players that he's relying on gets injured, for instance, Osimhen. If Osimhen gets injured, who are you going to rely on? That is where you discover another person in training or in friendly match. Then for Ahmed Musa, normally, if you watch some teams, even in club side, look at, for instance, what's the name of this club? I think, is it for Brighton?
Brighton, yes.
They have
James Mina.
Yes, Mina. Yeah. They brought it in for a purpose.
Lallana, those
look at Silva in Chelsea. They brought them in for a purpose. The reason is for them to use their experience to help the team. Look at what Silva is doing at the defense of Chelsea. That's why you see Chelsea hardly concede plenty goals. Unlike before he came in, they were conceding like 3-4 goals. They were just donating palliative to everything. For Ahmed Musa, He might not be
Start,
playing.
okay.
He might not start. He might not start. He can still play. He can still play. But we need an experienced player in that team. And good enough, he falls into that category of persons. And is this, everybody is free with him. You know, there are some people that are old players, but they are not free with others. But him is very free with everybody. I think we need somebody like him to actually guard the young ones.
In terms of the attacking line, Kelechi Iheanacho, Samuel Chukwueze, Moses Simon, Ademola Lookman, Victor Shime, Victor Boniface, Ahmed Musa.
Boniface is injured, so he's out of it.
Out of it, as we hope here. Are you confident that Sadiq Umar would finally come to the party, and also Moses Simon and Ademola Lookman, Chukwueze? Do you think these 4 players will finally, give us something to remember? Because you could say Iheanacho have done in the past, Osimhen has showed us what he can deliver, but Umar, Sadiq, and Chukwueze, they've not really, Ademola Lookman. Do you think we're likely to see them carry the team on their shoulders, whether Osimhen is there or not?
Iheanacho, when he played the under-17, we all saw what he did.
He did, yes.
Very fantastic player. And even in, what's it called, Leicester City, he's also still doing his problem. Even in Man City, he did well. His problem is that he's always slow to take decisions.
But he's not a better player, I guess.
I can't say he was a better player in Man City, but he was wasting scoring chances. And big clubs like that, any opportunity you have, you take it. You take it immediately. That's what Foden is doing. So you don't waste all your scoring chances. Iheanacho doesn't take decision on time. Maybe it's with goalkeeper. Decide on what to do on time, whether you want to slot in or you want to put it over. But he will be thinking before somebody will come and clear the ball. So that is his major problem. If he can think faster, he will be a better player. But he's a very good player. For Sadiq, of course, we know what he is playing for his club. He has been injured all this while. He has been injured, so we have not seen the best of him. The only time there was one match I watched, he scored from the middle of the pitch, a very long shot like that. It was a very fantastic goal. Then Chukwueze, if you watch AC Milan, nowadays they always start him. He has been doing well. Osimhen, of course. So for me, we have the best of players in the team. My fear is the ability of the coach to use them. For instance, I still don't see Iheanacho as a top striker. If you put him as a top, he will disappoint you.
It's a parting
yes,
striker.
He will disappoint. He's a good passer of the ball. He will disappoint you. If I have opportunity to handle that team, I will use him as a support striker or even a midfielder. The guy is a good passer. He can give a killer pass, throw a better pass to other players. But for you to use him as a top striker, then you won't get the best out of it. And that was the mistake Guardiola made. There was a time we used him as a top striker. And Iheanacho is not that kind of person. Iheanacho wants to relax and decide where to put the ball. And as a striker, you don't do that. As a striker, any ball you see, just look for the post. Where any opening, just put it there as a striker. But when you are playing as a support striker, you have the time to know whether you want to give the pass or to score by yourself. So when there is an opening, if the attention is not on Iheanacho,
yes.
If the attention, because as a top striker, attention will always be on you. 2 persons will always be on you. So one person is already depleted in that team. So the support striker will now have opportunity. So if you use somebody as a top striker, the attention will not be on that support striker, and it will give that person opportunity to score goal. That is where Iheanacho will do well, and I want to believe the coach will use him like that.
All right, we're wishing for the very best for the Super Eagles as the guest set for the African Cup of Nations. Let's see the groupings of Nigeria's group in the African Cup of Nations, and we'll just do some quick analysis as regards how Nigeria can get out of that group. We know that we've got the Equatorial Guinea, we've got the Elephants of Cote d'Ivoire to deal with, and also the Guinean national team will be Guinea-Bissau in our group. For you, looking at those 3 things, are you sure the Super Eagles can't scale through? Because the Elephants of Cote d'Ivoire, they are the host nation, and you cannot take it from them. They're a very good side. They've got a fantastic squad. Wilfred Zaha didn't make the team.
Being the host does not give you a guarantee that you're going to win the Nations Cup,
True.
especially the Nations Cup. I remember the was it France 98, where France
World
lost
Cup.
the first match
Yeah, against Senegal.
against Senegal. They were the host. With all the support, Senegal shocked them. Senegal, a rookie in that World Cup. That was the first time
their
of
first
going to
World
the
Cup, yes, true.
So for Cote d'Ivoire, the only advantage they will have over us, and we also have our own advantage, is that most of the players play at home. So there's this, in Nations Cup is all about physicality. If you bring Ajebo, all your players Ajebo, you pay for it. And that was what some of us were considering, were trying to tell the coach to do. Bring one or two players in,
From the
home-based
players
into that team, especially in the middle.
Because in 2013 we had a home-based player
that goal this guy scored,
Mba, yes.
I don't think a foreign-based player
will stick his neck.
Because one, the person will be afraid of hamstring. After bringing down the ball, he used the second leg immediately
to wipe the ball into
wipe
the
the ball. He was not afraid of getting injured.
Yeah.
And that was why he became the person everybody's running after. He got a contract outside the country. So, but a foreign-based player will be considering so many things. If I take this risk now, I will sit on the bench for a long time. I might lose my shirt to so person. So, for me, and apart from that, if you watch the World Cup World Cup qualifier we played in Abuja here against Ghana, that was one thing they used against us. Partey muzzled every other player in our midfield. We need this home-based player that can fight for the ball. Home-based player, they want to prove themselves.
Yeah, they want to give everything
everywhere. They want to impress the coach to continue to play. But we have not been seeing that. The only thing we see is goalkeeper. I think the coach should just help us. That is one of the, especially this Nations Cup, it will be an advantage for us. But for Cote d'Ivoire, they also have many foreign-based players, yes, but they have some home-based players among them. They have a reason for doing that. Then for Guinea-Bissau, there is no small team in Africa anymore. There is no small team, especially when you want to underrate them. I remember what Madagascar did to us at the Nations Cup. So I always said, whenever we are going to the Nations Cup, even World Cup, the coach must sit down to plan. You don't just go to the Nations Cup in the name of we are playing match tomorrow, we are playing. No, sit down to plan. Look at the team you can get 3 points from. Look at the teams you feel this one will be difficult, but the worst result we should get from there is a draw. That is how to plan. You must plan, and once you plan, you work towards it. That's what they call game plan. You don't just enter the pitch in the name of going to play ball. You must sit down to plan. Which team do you think, how do we approach this game? It's when you look at your opponent, you know how to approach the game.
The formation to take.
Yes, that's what will determine your formation and all those stuff. That's what will determine. So for me, the coach should sit down to plan. Don't just look at Cote d'Ivoire. We can beat them. We can beat them. Don't do that. If you do that, if you give too much confidence to those players, they will not take things serious on the pitch.
All right, let's talk about the prize.
I want to assure you that we will scale through.
All right, we're hoping for the best for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Let's look at the prize money for the African Cup of Nations. We're talking about the 34th edition. The prize money is put at $7 million for CAF. Do you think this was one of the things Motsepe did promise? I was talking about the CAF president from South Africa. He promised an increased purse for the African Cup of Nations, $7 million. Is that good enough for the African Cup of Nations? And do you think this will inspire all the teams in Africa to go for the trophy in very, very grand style?
I can't remember how much was in the past, but we just have to start from somewhere. This is a new president, and the funniest thing is that his own countries are not even supporting him. One cable network in South, I don't want to give them advert. Okay. One cable advert network in Africa. They are not going to beam the match live in Nigeria. So in other words, they are not supporting their own person. So this is the first time it's happening anyway, which is not good enough. No matter the thing they're supposed to work.
Don't you think it was all about?
I know it's all about
the
business.
Marketing
Oh, it's all about business. Do you know that?
Was it fair for CAF not to allow such a very big marketing media franchise not to cover the most prestigious tournament in Africa? That was a big miss by CAF.
Well, just like you said, it's business. It's business, but it will read wrong meaning in the public, especially to Nigerians. How do you expect me to pay about 13,000 to watch your program for a month, and I will not be watching the Nations Cup? That alone can discourage me. And Nigeria is the biggest market they have, whether they like it or not. I know they will say it's a lie. It's a
no, it is. Nigeria is the biggest.
Nigeria is the biggest market anywhere in the world. Even when they manufacture car, Nigeria is the biggest market. There was a day I saw a car that was being advertised on TV, on CNN. Garikitu, yeah, I saw that car. Garikitu, yeah, Garikitu. So Nigeria is the biggest market. So I was expecting then that diplomatic way of doing things.
Yeah, but do you think it's too late to? The African government is still.
It's not late. It's not late just for the other to just sit on the round table and agree. Okay, we are ready to. Because if they don't do that, people are already looking for alternatives. Yeah. So it's for their own good. If they like themselves, the South African, the CAF president is their own. They should go and meet him and settle things. If not, in the long run, they will suffer for it.
All right, it's sad currently, but we definitely want to watch our darling Super Eagles in action, and hopefully we'll be having some day-to-day analysis, live scores as regards the African Cup of Nations, especially when the Super Eagles will be in action. We'll be making sure Global Television Talk Sports will be giving you some slides of what's playing out at the 34th edition of the African Cup of Nations, and your darling Eagles hopefully will do us proud. All right, we'll go for a very quick break. When we return from the break, we'll be looking at the foreign scene and looking at transfer business, which player is going to which club, which coach is moving to any other club. All this will be after this break. Stay with us as we talk sports. Hello, sports fans. Welcome to Sports News Update. Tyson Fury could sensationally pull out of his upcoming undisputed fight against Alexander Usyk on February 17, claims the former welterweight world champion. Fury is set to go up against the feared Ukrainian fighter for all the marbles in Saudi Arabia next month, after negotiations stretching back to last year. The Gypsy King last fight saw him come through a scare against former UFC fighter Francis Ngannou in what was his first pro boxing bout, which has led to punters believing Usyk has a good chance of defeating him. Fury had been shockingly dropped in the third round of the contest against Ngannou, and there have been questions over his condition, with his own father, John, telling Mailsport that he looked well off the pace. And after seeing Fury sidestep Usyk last year before being rocked by the powerful Cameroonian, who he beat on split decision, there has been claims that he may choose to avoid Usyk too. João Felix has been tagged as a generational talent with mentality problems as the wheels threaten to come off his loan at Barcelona despite a 900% pay rise. The Chelsea flop is enjoying a poor run of form and is unfancied for the Supercopa de España semi-final against Osasuna on Thursday. He had a promising start at Barca, his dream club, but familiar signs are re-emerging for the trickster cast aside by Atletico Madrid. That's despite his salary being multiplied tenfold to more than £3.4 million now that Barcelona have more financial wiggle room. Barca managed to register the 24-year-old on small change for a top-level player due to his financial struggles, but had to elevate his wage when their bank balance allowed. Paris Saint-Germain have denied allegations they tried to pressure the organizer of Ballon d'Or into giving Lionel Messi the prestigious honor in 2021. After his long reign of success in Barcelona, the Argentine star had joined PSG earlier that year, but was in close-run contest for the top prize alongside Polish striker Robert Lewandowski. The French giants have been accused of trying to influence those at France Football magazine who decide the winner of the Ballon d'Or so that it would fall in favor of their new signing Messi. Le Monde reports that an ongoing legal investigation claims PSG were lobbying for Messi to get the honor by offering gifts and other benefits to Pascal Ferry, who was then editor-in-chief of France Football and responsible for organizing the Ballon d'Or. A probe from the General Inspectorate of National Police claims that Ferry received match tickets and a business class flight from the Paris club in 2020 and 2021 when he was still in charge of France Football magazine. Kylian Mbappe will join Real Madrid next season after reportedly reaching an agreement with Los Blancos earlier in the week, according to Foot Mercato. The last 2 summers have seen both Mbappe and Real Madrid involved in transfer sagas, with all things seemingly pointing towards a stunning move on both occasions. However, Real Madrid were left red-faced on both occasions. Therefore, Real Madrid were eager to avoid a third defeat when discussing a potential transfer with Mbappe, who will be out of contract at the end of the season. According to Foot Mercato, Mbappe reached an agreement with Real Madrid a few days ago and committed his future to the La Liga giant after refusing to extend his stay at Paris Saint-Germain. However, reports are stating that the financial package on offer from the Spanish giant is lower than those that were presented to the 25-year-old during negotiations in 2022. And that's how we call it a wrap on the Sports News Update. I am Anthony Momodu. All right, like they say, Ferguson time, but this is not Ferguson time, this transfer time. We'll be talking some transfer business making the rounds already. We know one of the big story is that Kylian Mbappe will be moving to the Galacticos, talking about Real Madrid, Hala Madrid, or Madrid fans. And like they say, when it rains in Spain, it pours. Remember what happened as regards Mbappe moving to Madrid. The saga went on, and at the end of the day, he never went to Madrid. But this time around, do you think he's going to move? The big story says Mbappe moves to Madrid this summer. He has refused to renew his contract with PSG. Do you think this is the right time for Mbappe to move?
Well, he was supposed to have moved before now. That was when
he was Madrid very red hot.
Desperately wanted him. But last minute he changed his mind and decided to stay back. I think he is moving is because of Ballon d'Or. Wow. He thought
he was going to get Ballon d'Or when he was in PSG.
No, he wanted Ballon d'Or. So that was one of the reasons why he wanted to move to Madrid. But because of the coach that came in and convinced him that you can also win it here. We are also bringing new good players around you. And that was why last minute he changed his mind and stayed back.
And the money he was given too.
Now he's ready to go to Madrid. Madrid, they are not ready to offer that same amount again. Yeah. So that one too might discourage him. Well, you won't blame Madrid. When we needed you, you were nowhere to be found. And also we have a better player in Jude Bellingham. So it's not left for. It's like if you like, we are not forcing you. We will not beg you. You like, but the way it is going, Mbappe, that it has been his dream to play for Madrid. So I won't be surprised if he moves eventually, even with the amount they are offering him.
All right, let's look at other players likely to move. Let's look at Onana, who plays for Everton. Arsenal is wanting Onana. Do you think that's the right club for Onana. And it's Onana the kind of player Arsenal needs. So Onana plays for Belgium, by the way.
Onana he played the same style with Partey.
Partey, okay.
It's actually because of Partey, that's why they are bringing him in. Partey has always been injured. He's aging. Yeah. Forget all these African players. They don't declare their real age. When they are in their 40s, they will tell you they are 28. So I think, and once they get injured, the injury will
take some time for them.
Very long time to heal. So that is what is happening to some of them. So maybe that's why they want to go for Onana, to see how he can cover up. I think he will do well. He will do well in. I was expecting Rice to rise up to the expected occasion, but he's not playing the way he used to play in West Ham.
What do you think is happening to him?
Of course, whether we like it or not, Arsenal is a bigger club. He's playing with bigger players in quotes, even though Arsenal players are average. I mean, No,
but they
are far better than West Ham players. Even though you can pick one or two players that are good in West Ham, but you can't compare them with the level. You can't who are you going to compare Odegaard with in West Ham? So Arsenal players, they are higher. So some players are like that. When they are playing with a bigger team, you don't get the best out of them. They are like a shark in a small pond. Yeah, so that is what is happening to Rice. He's a good player.
All right, let's talk about one team. They call themselves the Red Devils, and that's taking into Old Trafford, where last night they were able to win 2-1 against Wigan in the FA Cup series of matches, trying to win the FA Cup. For Manchester United, would you say they are doing? How would you describe Manchester United?
Don't use the word.
We're talking about the FA Cup now. Would you blame the coach? Or is the quality of players he has, or it's just the whole combination of everything?
Tony, the last time I checked, I wasn't the person that bought player for him, and I didn't see it anywhere that you also contributed. He was the one that bought those players. Chelsea. He was the one that bought the players himself. So you can't tell me it's the players. You saw the player before going for them. Even Onana, you sacrifice the gear for Onana, and you are getting the result. So for me, anything that happens in Man U, the coach should take it. He's the one in charge. Okay, look at the other angle. Always quarreling with players, having issues. It's just that some of these players, they are professionals. If we were to be in those days when we, or if we were to be in Nigerian playing at Nigerian league, they'll frustrate you out of the team. They will play against you. But these guys are professional. Look at, he had issue with Garnacho. But he's still playing his game. He had issue with Varane, apart from Sancho that wants to leave. He had issue with so many players. Just like I said the last time I came here, I said late Laluku will tell you that anytime you have issue with any player, especially your key players, settle with them. Let them give you that result. Then when they come back from their match, you can decide to continue with your quarrel. But that's moment you have to.
But looking at Man U winning 2-1 against Wigan, does that...
Is it 2-1? 2-0.
2-0. Does that lift the pressure on Erik ten Hag? And they've got a player, Manu, who a very young star who's impressing thus far.
Yes, I don't know why they didn't discover that player on time.
He had injury during the tour before the season started. He
very was one good of player. Very good player. It's an eye opener for the coach. He should continue to scout for such players. And whether it's a moral booster, what did he use? I don't think so, because this is not the first time Man U
win one, lose 3.
Yeah, and it's like Pochettino, like Ten Hag, but Pochettino seems to have dropped that style. They will win one, the next match he will draw, the next one he will lose. So that is what Ten Hag has been doing.
Do you think he's going to be sacked?
Of course, he's just like the former coach, the ex-players.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
That was what he was doing at a point before he picked up. Then he came down all before they sacked him. Of course, he will go. That one is for sure. He's just buying time.
All right, let's look at other transfer news when January, so transfer news is big. Tottenham are trying to get Timo Werner back into the English Premier League. Let's look at Timo Werner, ex-Chelsea player who didn't do well, went back to RB Leipzig. Do you think Chelsea Do you think Tottenham are making the right decision going for Timo Werner, especially when Song is heading for the Asian Cup too?
Timo is like a bat. He doesn't see well at a particular...
Oh my God.
If he's coming back to England, then they should forget it. If he's playing in Germany, he will see well. He will see well. Somebody will empty foot. He will just kick the ball away. Is that the kind of player they want to bring? They thought Chelsea was responsible for his problem.
Yeah,
or there is a charm that is working against him. I think maybe they don't watch him. Let them go and bring him. Anything is possible anyway. He might just come and he starts scoring the goal. But for me, I don't think Timo is a... He is not. He doesn't play with his brain. He play with his leg.
All right, let's quickly look at other transfer news. Looking at there was a controversial talk yesterday that broke from France. It says that's talking about Paris Saint-Germain. They were accused of lobbying the French football organizers, those who organized the Ballon d'Or in 2021, trying to lobby them to ensure that Messi did win the Ballon d'Or for 2021 because he just moved from Barcelona, where he had won it several times. Looking at that story, already the French authorities are investigating that story. Shouldn't this be one of the stories that FIFA should be interested in? And if it's true that PSG actually did influence that man because he was giving gifts, giving match tickets, doesn't that, puts a dent on the reputation of Ballon d'Or and what fans have always said, that the right people at times did not win it?
Not at times. Right people don't win it ever since this race. I know somebody will say it's because I'm supporting, maybe I'm a fan of Ronaldo. The thing is that they've not been sincere. Ever since they changed the pattern, the voting pattern, ever since they changed it, there's no way I would like a player. For instance, if I like Osimhen as a player, and you want me to vote the best player among the three players, among Ronaldo, Messi, and Osimhen, there's no way. Even if Messi was the best player that season, I will still choose Osimhen. That is what is happening. They are choosing based on
it was
who
obvious,
they like.
But it was obvious.
No, it wasn't. There was a time Messi did not deserve it. They gave it to him. I think two times. There's this
different occasion that Ronaldo was clearly better.
Ronaldo, there was a time this Dutch guy. What's the name of this guy? About two, three
Schneider.
Schneider, yes.
Schneider, yes.
2-3 times.
When he was in Inter.
Yes. So I think it's because when you vote, you are voting. When they vote the person they like, not the person that did well. Wow. That is the problem we are having. Until they don't bring sentiment into it. That's when the only time you can choose the best player. Even in Africa, they do it. They do it in Africa. For the first time, they are doing the right thing. The last one he had. But before then, okay, look at how they deny Mikel Obi. Look at the Gigi Okocha because of a scissors kick that Mustafa Haji did. What my grandfather can do, let alone me. So I think there has always been sentiments in selections.
All right, I think that's how much time is going to allow us to talk sport this morning. Coach, any other info you have for us as regards teams in the FCT or your club sides?
Well, for now, not everybody is focused on the Nations Cup. That's what we are looking up to. Some of us are also looking at to see how we can be there, to see things.
So are you likely to go to?
That's why I say we are looking at.
Let me just put you on the spot. If you're going to be in Côte d'Ivoire for the African Cup of Nations, would we be getting live feedback in terms of reports?
Of course, why not? Okay. Why not? We should be able to do that.
But is the NFL supporting?
Before we become coach, we are also journalists. So why not?
But is the NFL or CAF giving any form of support to sports journalists like you?
I don't know.
To Côte d'Ivoire?
For now, I don't know.
But I know they give grants.
Maybe. I don't know. Me, I'm not aware of that. But I'm just interested in going to... somebody is also looking for how I can help him do one or two things over there. But what I'm trying to say is that my focus will be on the Super Eagles. Okay. If I have any information from the stand, maybe towards the next match or after watching the training section, I can also give advice if the coach will be ready to listen. You know, you don't look down on anybody. Anybody can help you out.
So you're going to be assessing matches? And,
of course, I'm going to do that. If I can't pass it through the coach, I should be able to do it through the NFF. I've done it on several occasions. But let's see what.
All right, so now you know coach is going to be involved in ensuring that Nigeria wins the fourth edition, the fourth title for Nigeria, as he will be playing some key role observing Super Eagles opponents and also watching Super Eagles trainings and passing information to Victor Pisiaro. So it tells you the quality of man in the studio. And so we'll be expecting some live feedback from Cote d'Ivoire at the African Cup of Nations from Coach Chris Odokweku. And we're saying thank you already for assuring Global Television that we'll be getting some feedback from Cote d'Ivoire as regards the 34th edition of the African Cup of Nations. That's where we call it let's say a draw now. Inconclusive election. No, this time around it's conclusive. So that's where we're going to call it a wrap in today's matchup in Talking Sport. And just to let you know that the Cup of Nations is going to be live and direct. We're getting very interesting feedback from Coach. And so we want to say thank you very much, Coach, for giving us that information. All right. My name remains Anthony Bomodu. You call me the King of Sport, and that's how we call it a wrap. Let's do this again tomorrow when we talk sport.